25th, 2018 is now in session. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear God, thank you for the many blessings you have given our fine city. We ask that you show mercy to the migrant children at our borders. Reunite them with their families and loved ones. Please guide them to a place of peace and safety. Keep our city safe from hatred, intolerance, and violence, and bring our neighborhoods together for the betterment of our city. We ask that you comfort those who have suffered loss and heal those faced with health challenges. As we approach the celebration of our nation's independence, we give thanks for the opportunities and freedoms we have in the United States of America. Help us never to take these blessings for granted. In your holy name, amen. Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Here.
Spitali.
Here.
Kalwinski.
Here.
Torres.
Here.
Higgs.
Here.
Emerson.
Here.
Warple.
Here.
Rakels.
Here.
Vanez.
Here. Let the record reflect 9 present, 0 absent. Moving on to reading of the minutes.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
make a motion to accept the minutes from June 11, 2018.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson, to approve the minutes of June 11th, 2018. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to approval of claims.
Madam Chair Lady,
Yes, Councilman.
move for approval of claims June 9th, 2018 through June 20th, 2018 for council meeting June 25th, 2018. Beginning with claims dated 6/14/18 and ending with claims dated 6/20/18, claim number 3478 through claim number 3806 for $7,304,579.53. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Higgs, for approval of claims from June 6th through June 20th, 2018. Any discussion?
Madam Chair Lady,
Yes, Councilman.
couple additions. Claim number 3807, Optimist Club for $100 from Councilman Scott Rakels for donation for club activities. Claim number 3808, Optimist Club, $100 from Councilman Scott Rakels for Optimist Club activities. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Higgs, to add claim number 3807 in the amount of $100 for the Optimist Club, and 3808, what was the amount on that?
$100.
$100 also for Optimist. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote on amended claims.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vanez.
Yes. Amended claims pass, 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Now for claims as written. Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vanez.
Yes. Claims pass, 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Moving on to public hearings, there are none. Communications?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Torres.
I got a letter from Mr. Mark Sabara in the 4500 block of Pine in, just to two-sentence letter, so I'll read it. I read an article in the Tribune from April about the work that you're doing in Hammond to create white zones from the trains. I would like to find out more on the status of this project and if there's anything I could do to help. Just to say that $56,000 has been approved for this project just to do the engineering. It's just on Seoul and just north of Wilcourt, and just the only location at this time. So we'll see how that goes and what is suggested. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Any other communications? Any other communications? Any other communications? Communications are now closed. Moving on to committee reports. There were no committees that met this evening, but I do have the Community and Crime Watch meetings to announce. On Tuesday, July 3rd, the Harrison Park Crime Watch will meet at the VFW on Holman Avenue. That is at 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, June 26th, the Pulaski Park Neighborhood Association will meet 6:30 p.m. at the American Legion. At the Crime Watch meetings, most recently, questions have been asked about fireworks. And I just wanted to read the Fireworks Ordinance that is in place. The use of fireworks is prohibited within the City of Hammond city limits except as follows. Between the hours of 5 p.m. and 2 hours after sunset on June 29th, 30th, July 1st, July 2nd, July 3rd, July 5th, July 6th, July 7th, July 8th, and July 9th. Between the hours of 10 a.m. and midnight on July 4th. In case anyone is interested for future reference, between the hours of 10 a.m. on December 31st and 1 a.m. on January 1st. If a company or individual seeks a waiver from this section, said waiver must be obtained through the Hammond Board of Works. So if anyone hears or knows of anyone who is shooting off fireworks outside of those parameters, please call the Hammond Police Department. One more thing that has been brought up at the Crime Watch meetings. Last year on July 1st, our city suffered a horrible loss of a young man who was in his yard playing basketball. Someone shot a gun up in the air, and we all know what goes up must come down, and the bullet came down and lodged in this young man's head, and he did not survive. So, we also have an ordinance against discharging firearms in the City of Hammond. It shall be unlawful for any person to fire or discharge a firearm of any kind or nature whatsoever within the city. However, nothing in this section prevents the use of these weapons in shooting galleries or in any authorized place which is regulated by the Hammond Police Department. It shall be unlawful for the parents, guardian, or other adult person having the care and custody of a minor under the age of 21 to knowingly permit the minor to fire any firearm of any kind or any nature whatsoever in the city. For those gun owners, if you are so inclined to shoot your gun in a celebratory fashion, please do not shoot it in the air. Shoot it at the ground if you must. I would highly recommend that you avoid any such activity to prevent any such tragedy from occurring in the future. And that is why community is not just about me, it's about us. Committee reports is now closed. Moving on to ordinance, third and final passage, there are none. Introduction of ordinances, there are none. Resolutions.
Item A, Resolution 18R-15, 31, sponsored by Councilman Spitali. A resolution authorizing the entry by the Hammond Redevelopment Commission into an installment contract and taking certain other actions related thereto.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
for final passage of 18R-31.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson for final passage of 18R31. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Was that Councilman Spitali?
I was going to have, this is all about the financing for the new sports complex, and I was going to have Heather come up and explain it.
Good evening, Council. As you know, we are building our new Hammond Sports Complex at the old Woodmar Mall site. It is set to be completed by the end of September, and it will be valued at about $17.9 million. So we've been exploring different financing options for that. One of that was a HUD Section 108 loan that financed a large component of that. This is another component that we're utilizing, about $6 million in financing through an installment contract. It will be repaid from TIF revenues on an annual appropriation pledge. It does not impact the tax rate or count against our debt limit. So this is a financing tool that we can use towards this project. Any other questions on this one?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Higgs.
Heather, what's the total cost for this project?
The total cost is about $17.9 million if we hit all of the contingency dollars.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Higgs.
I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor to this resolution.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Kalwinski.
so how many HUD dollars came for this project did we use?
It was about 8.7. So they, at points, offer the option to do Section 108 loans. Our current Section 108 loan was expiring, and they approached us about doing another project. So it is repaid primarily by the CDBG distributions on an annual basis. It's at a lower interest rate than we would normally receive from a banking institution. So it's a good tool, and we had those dollars available now that our past one was getting ready to be paid off.
So are we applying for $6 million more dollars?
Yes. So this $6 million will be financed through a local bank. We are in negotiations. They are holding our rate for us now, as we had some hurdles to get through with some other financings. So this will be an independent loan from that bank.
And are all those dollars going to the sports pool?
Yes, this will all go towards the sports complex, and there will still be a little bit of money that will be used from the allocation area itself towards construction costs. We've been kind of building up a cash reserve there to find the right project, and we think that the sports complex will be a good project to replace Woodmar Mall, so we're using those funds in the best way we can. We didn't want to deplete the entire cash balance, and that's why we're going for this installment contract.
So between the allocation area and the $6 million, that'll cover all the...
It'll cover the expense of the entire facility, yes.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman
when is
Spitali.
it supposed to open?
I'm hearing by the end of September. So we're moving along pretty well. We actually will get our first distribution from HUD this week, so we're excited about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There was a motion by Councilman Higgs to be added to, as a sponsor. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion, second by Councilman Torres. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All righty. There is a motion on the floor for final passage of 18R31. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 18R31 passes, 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Item B, Resolution 18R-32, sponsored by Councilman Higgs. A resolution recognizing and honoring Perlene Jenkins and designating the 900 block of Conkey Street as Honorary Pearline Jenkins Street.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Higgs.
I make a motion to pass this resolution 18R32. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Rakos for final passage of ordinance number 18R32. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs.
I'd like to have Kurt Golick read the resolution in its entirety.
Whereas the Common Council finds that Pearline Jenkins was born on May 8, 1915, in the state of Mississippi. Her parents took her to Arkansas to live with her aunt. At the age of 12, her family moved to Chicago. Following her marriage to James Jenkins in 1939, they moved to Hammond. They had no children, but adopted a son, Henry Martin, who graduated from Hammond High School, who resides in Colton, California, and who is a federal employee of the Armed Forces. She united with Zion Baptist Church in December 1939, and whereas she was active in the church and became its secretary in 1947 after the resignation of the late Mrs. Lucille Jasper, and served until 1993. And whereas in the church she was active in the Sunday school department as a teacher, director of the youth department, the Sunshine Band, matrons, ushers, and former Women's Day chairman. And whereas she was active in school activities, serving as a member of SIP, Hammond High Education Foundation, and Department of Curriculum. And whereas her community involvements include Commission for the Adoption of Minority Children, CETA, Brooks House Board of Directors, Community Council, Station WJOB radio announcer, and president of the NAACP. She was a life member. She visited the Holy Lands in 1981, attended the first Memorial March on Washington, and was the recipient of many rewards. And therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Hammond, Indiana, that the City of Hammond honors and recognizes the contributions of Pearline Jenkins and designates the 900 block of Conkey Street as Honorary Pearline Jenkins Street.
Madam
Thank
President,
you, Clerk Golick. Yes, Councilman Higgs.
just to add to her many attributes, Ms. Pearline received numerous keys from former mayors of the City of Hammond. One happens to be our current mayor's father, who gave her a key of the city, and also Dwayne Delo, who was a former mayor of the City of Hammond. Ms. Pearline attributes and contributions to our city is phenomenal, and I'm so happy to be honored and be placed in this position to give her recognition. Although she's gone, but she won't be forgotten. Her legacy will live on, not just in the city, but in the nation. Ms. Pearline was phenomenal and committed to the betterment of African American and people in general. She was truly a fighter, and she fought to the end. And it was all about making Hammond a better place for all the residents, not just one particular color. She also served as secretary for Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church under the late Dr. A.R. Burns for 46 years, where she was honored. And I have a momentum from the program where some of the people that honored her on September 23rd, 1923, the master of ceremony was McKinley Nuttall. 1993, excuse me, and J.P. Davis, who was the former president of the NAACP, who's now deceased as well, was on the program, as well as James Jenkins, Ms. Burns. The welcome was from Reverend A.R. Burns, who's also deceased, and Royal Blackman sung a solo, who's been active with NAACP for a number of years, as well as Reverend Maurice Pierce, who lives in the 3rd District, and also the former councilman in which the seat I hold, Reverend John Pierce, was the pastor and from the First Tabernacle Baptist Church, was a speaker. And it's historical, and I'm just overwhelmed, and I just thank God that he placed me there before her artifacts would have been thrown in the garbage. And although I knew her many contributions to the city and having an opportunity to sit on the porch and talk to Ms. Pearline and her husband on many occasions and having conversations, I never knew in a million years that I would be the one to have to actually move forward in naming a street in which she lived, and was so concerned about not just her street but her entire community. And it's just awesome, and I just thank God for allowing me to be in this position, and may her legacy and her memories live forever.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
after seeing the drawing of the picture there, Councilman's right. She didn't care. People were people to her, and I can remember being an 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid with long hair walking that neighborhood with a mailbag on my shoulder, and she was giving me glasses of water before there was bottled water. And she was a very nice lady, and I commend you on recognizing her, Councilman.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
also, I recognized Ms. Pearline back on February 25th of 2008 while she was still living. And some of my colleagues that were sitting on the council then were Robert A. Markovich, Kathleen Pasalic, whose picture is here in our chambers, who's now deceased, signed it, as well as Dan Repay, me, myself, Joanne Matanovich, who also is now deceased, signed off, and Mark Kowinski, who's the councilman from the 1st District, and Kimberly Poland, who's no longer on the council, and Chico Hinojosa also, and Alfonso Salinas all signed this, and I'm going to be presenting this to Mount Zion as well as with the rest of the artifacts that I got from her home. So just wanted to make sure that she was recognized at least twice by me in my tenure of being on the council, and it's just I'm just overwhelmed. And anybody in this community, I'm sure Mr. Walker probably is emotional as well, because dealing with and having conversation with Ms. Pearline, she was straightforward and she didn't play no games. It was about the community, and she wasn't to be sold or bought. It was strictly about Hammond and East Hammond community.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Torres.
can I ask suspend the rules to see if any members of our audience would like to speak.
Motion by Councilman Torres. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Spitali, to suspend the rules to allow anyone to speak on Ms. Pearline. Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call vote, please.
Markovich. Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels. Yes. Vines.
Yes. Motion passes 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Anyone wishing to speak on Ms. Pearline, please approach the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Do I need, you need to know my name?
Sure.
I'm Paul Walker, and I'm a retired Hammond police officer. And I want to commend Anthony as well as the council for this recognition. I can remember many times activities with Pearline. I can remember as a child knowing Pearline, and then growing up and being a police officer, and being able to sit and talk with her and work with her to grow up was something that I was really proud of, to be able to work with Pearline and a lot of people like her. And Pearline was, she didn't bite her tongue. And I think most of you know me, and so there was there was always a certain way that you would talk, you had to talk to me or you couldn't talk to me. And Pearline, I remember telling her one time that I had said something, and Pearline, and I was a police officer, and Pearline said, "Yeah, you always running your big mouth," you know. And so she had earned that right to be able to say it in the tone that she said it, because Pearline had walked the walk and talked the talk. And so again, I would like to congratulate you for the honor that you're bestowing on Pearline. I'm sure she would be tickled to death to see it and hear it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak, please approach the podium.
Hi, my name is Rita Jackson. I remember I was serving on a committee with Miss Pearline, and sometimes in our meetings it gets heated and disagreeable, and Miss Pearline just had that ability to make things stop. She basically said, "Shut up, quit acting like children, let's get the business done and let's go home." And that's the thing I remembered about her being like a mother. She didn't talk much, but when she said something, because she waited, she listened to us, go back and forth, bicker and da-da-da, and then when she spoke, it was done. So although she may not have been a natural mother in this time, but she was truly a spiritual mother, and she was respected as one.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Anyone else wishing to approach the podium? One more time. Anyone else? Alrighty, thank you very much. I would like a motion to return to the regular order of business.
So moved.
Sure. Make a motion to return normal.
Alrighty, motion by Councilman Torres, second by Councilman Emerson, to return to the regular order of business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Alrighty, now for final passage of 18R32. Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. Motion carries, 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
President Vines, that concludes the reading of the resolutions.
Thank you. Thank you. Now moving on to new and unfinished business.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Higgs.
recently I received a correspondence from the Eastside Community Council in regards to having a parade. Then I had meetings with some of the people that is very instrumental in the community, such as Camille and PK and Zena and a number of other people in regards to addressing the concerns about, which was formerly known as Hammond Day, and somehow or another, I guess how it coincides with each other is kind of complex. But the reality of it is we had a meeting and we were discussing what was needed in regards to Hammond Day. And I received a correspondence saying something about a parade, and I was like wondering who was doing what for this particular day, which is supposed to be on Saturday. And it said that Leroy Howard was the president of the Eastside Community Council. Well, when we had a meeting at House of Pizza and met with Leroy and Dorsey, Tommy Dorsey, he happens to say that he is the secretary of the organization, which at that point I had no other choice but to try to believe that he was the secretary and he was taking notes for this particular meeting, seeing it as concerning the 3rd District, and we're having a Hammond Day where people are going to come home and celebrate for this particular day. So at that point, we go on and continue to discuss it back and forth and try to get clarity as to what is needed for Hammond Day. And so the meeting was initially scheduled for that, I think that Thursday, and somehow or another I was given a call by Zena to come on that Wednesday to meet with him. So I got out of my bed and I met with him, and that was fine. So then we had a follow-up meeting in regards to Hammond Day, and I'm trying to get clarity again as to what is going to take place in regards to Hammond Day. So when we start meeting and discussing Hammond Day, Leroy is not present. So I'm trying to figure out where's Leroy. So Leroy never showed up at this meeting, so I had no indication that, or no idea that, you know, this parade was going to take place or what was going on, in particular with this particular event. Because if, you know, to prepare for a parade, you need candy, you need a float, you need to decorate your car, whatnot. So I was trying to get understanding. So never did I get a clear indication of where or who was the president. Not only that, at that point, Leroy was saying he was the president. So I'm like, okay, fine. So to make a long story short, in regards to the parade, we never got an answer as to, on the letter, where the parade was starting in. So my questions were at the House of Pizza, where is the parade going to start? And it says the Eastside Community Council Incorporated is pleased to invite you to the organization to participate in the first Hammond Day Parade on Saturday, June 30, 2018. The parade will begin at 10 a.m. sharp. All participants should line up at least an hour before the parade status. The starting point of the parade will be at Memorial Park, located in Highland and Ray Street. We ask that the cars, trucks, and floats, commercial vehicles, vans be decorated. Okay, Hammond Day is celebrated where past and present residents in the city come together and enjoy each other and reminisce. This is a day filled with love, peace, fun, and food. With the less of many Hammond residents in has caused us to organize a day to celebrate life, one another, and those we have lost. So we ask that your organization please come out and enjoy this celebration. Please ask the parade attached route. Never seen the parade attached route. Safety is a serious concern. Please do not throw out candy or other items from the parade vehicles. Rather, such items should be handed to those watching the parade by persons walking with the parade. Please confirm the participation by emails of the Eastside Community Council. Then it's at escc4630@yahoo.com by contacting Leroy Howard Jr. Then it has the phone number 219-603-6541, or the office 219-746-1559. Leroy Howard Jr., President, Eastside Community Council. So then we have another meeting in regards to the parade and East Hammond Day, which I've known it as. And we have a meeting, and I get to House of Pizza, and I had invited individuals that I knew had participated with this event, and one of them happens to be Verlin Jackson, Zena Anderson, Camille Robinson, Rita Jackson, myself, Queen Alexander, and a number of other people were invited, but some couldn't attend due to certain circumstances going on in their life. However, Councilwoman Vanessa shows up, as well as Ann Hubbard and Dorsey. So they show up at this meeting, which I didn't invite them. Now, however, Dorsey was informed of the meeting, but I had no recognition or even knowledge that they were going to be present at the House of Peace for this particular meeting in regards to Hammond Day. So they show up, and the question was posed to Ms. Vanessa, who's the councilwoman at large, who's the president of Eastside Community Council. On 4 different occasions, Ms. Vanessa told me, her colleague on the council, as well as my people from within the community, that she's the president. So, to make a long story short, I requested information from the state of Indiana Secretary of State. And it says Eastside Community Council in its entirety registered in Indiana company number 2010080300009. Company is incorporated on the 2nd day of August 2010. Current status of the company is active. The company agency, Sherry M. Roberts, is 1039 Drucker Street, Hammond, Indiana, USA. The company's president is Leroy Howard, 1039 Drucker Street, Hammond, Indiana, 46320. U.S., the company vice president is Benjamin Moraro, 1133 May Street, Hammond, Indiana. Never seen him or heard of him in my entire life. I don't know who that guy is. The company secretary is Sherry Roberts, 1039 Drucker Street, Hammond, Indiana, 46320. The company others is Glenda Jones on Noble Street. No address is identified in this document. Hammond, Indiana, 46320. The company treasurer is Shirley Shepard, who happens to be in the audience today. I don't know if she's the secretary, the treasurer, excuse me, at 1050 Eaton, Hammond, Indiana. So those are the board members that's been listed at the Secretary of State in Indianapolis, and I don't think they have no reason to lie to me about who's the president. So for whatever reason, I don't know why, for one, they would be at a meeting, and there's nothing wrong with serving the community and being actively involved and wanting to be actively involved for the right reasons. But when you're trying to hold my community in bondage, I have a problem with that. And the problem is that this has been going on far too long. I may not say anything, but I'm very observant and I watch everything that's going on. And the purpose of them actually being involved is only to continuously hold the community in bondage, and it's unacceptable. It's ridiculous, and there's no reason for anyone to sit up here and lie and say who's the president and who's not, because it was a simple question, and all we wanted to know is basically who's the president and what would you like for us to bring to this event, or what is it that you expect of us to do for this particular event, which is going to be held on the 30th. Now, time is running out, and we have no idea what's going on. So as a councilman, it's my duty and responsibility when it's going on in my district to at least show some concern, whether it's a rummage sale, or fireworks, or whatever. So, for whatever reason, Councilwoman Vanessa, on 4 separate occasions, said to me that she was the president. Then we asked, when are the meetings held? We never got an answer to when the meetings are being held. Then I asked for board members. Who are the board members? I couldn't even get the names of the board members from there. I had to request them. So until then, I had no idea who the board members were. It's ironic that Ann's not here tonight, but she's usually here when it's something pertaining to Councilman Higgs. But tonight, when she was at the meeting and she knew this subject was going to come to forefront, she's not here. Why is that? Where's Dorsey? Well, he told us at the meeting that he's going to be at his timeshare, and Leroy said that he's going to be at work. So if they're going to be one's going to be at the timeshare and the one's going to be at work, and you're the president of the Eastside Community Council, you mean to tell me you having a parade and you're not going to be there to attend it? The only way I wouldn't attend a parade that I put my name on it is if I was either deathly ill or just could not get there for some heroic measure. So the reality of it is that it just saddens me that Councilwoman Vines would actually come to a meeting that I called concerning my district and the community that she serves, and basically lie to not just me, but my constituents, and tell us that she is the president of an organization that she's not. I have no idea where it came from, and it's just not right. So it's just ridiculous. It makes no sense to me. And still, to this day, I don't know in a week's time how this parade is going to turn out. But for what I understand, no one's going to be there but the fire truck and the police officers. And I don't even know how they can be there when you're seeing that we don't even know who's a part of this organization. So, and I know in the past, they've received money for different things, events that they've held, but it's kind of strange to me that, you know, tonight they're not here, but normally they are here when it's something pertaining to councilmen and when the councilman is being attacked and whatnot, but when it's something pertaining to them, now we can't find them. But, and Ann and Dorsey is not a member. They may be a member, but they're not on the executive branch of the Eastside Community Council because the Secretary of State letter states that they are not the board members. So, in closing, I would hope that this get rectified as best they can, because right now, I don't know what kind of organization this is. It looks like it's a ghost organization. So, that's all I have to say, and it really saddens me that it would come to that point, but that's what we're dealing with.
Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Torres.
just like to thank the engineering department. Mr. Dean Button is here, our head engineer, for installing those drains by Columbia School. I went there during the raining past days, and there's no water collected in that intersection. And also 800 block of Truman. So thank you for promptly taking care of that.
Thank you. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam Chair Lady,
Yes, Councilman Markovich.
earlier it was brought up about fireworks, so possibly maybe we should have a copy of the Fireworks Ordinance sent to the Times, and maybe the Times can go ahead and print that in one of their articles to let people know ahead of time as far as what the Fireworks Ordinance is, and you know, let it be known so it can help them out. And if they do an article, then people will know. I mean, just to read it off here at a council meeting, I don't know how many people are listening, but hopefully the Times will do an article on it.
Thank you. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam Chair Lady,
Yes, Councilman Markovich.
last council meeting, I brought up about a special school board meeting that they had listed in the paper. And several people went there, and unbeknownst to their procedures, several people wanted to speak. Well, finding out the hard way, we have public expression here, and people are invited to go ahead and sign up for public expression if they would like to speak tonight on anything. And even if, you know, the sheet is brought off the podium and given to the council president, you know, if somebody wants to talk, we allow them usually to let them speak, even though they didn't sign up. But at the school board meeting, several people wanted to speak, and they said, well, you didn't sign in. There was the sheet, I guess, as soon as the meeting started at 5:30, the sheet was taken off the table, put up on the podium by the president, and if your name wasn't on it, you were not allowed to speak. A couple people that were at school board meetings in the past knew about it, signed in. Several people, including myself, wanted to sign in and speak, and then we're not allowed to. So buyer beware, I guess you can say, in a sense that if you go to a school board meeting, you want to talk, you better sign that piece of paper before they bring it up to the table, because otherwise they're not going to let you talk. I would hope in the future that they would show some concern that if people take their time out to go there to a school board meeting, they want to be involved with the schools, that if they take the time to go there, that they should acknowledge them and let them speak and not just shut them off and not allow them to speak at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman
I
Hicks.
also want to thank Camille Robinson who helped me clean of Ms. Pearling artifacts. When the gentleman actually gave them to me, with the exception of dusting them off, everything was pretty much intact at Ms. Pearling's house, for what I could see. It was just a portion of the roof and a portion of the windows. But the hot water tank was still in place. The owner told me, who bought it, he owns 123 properties. And also the pipes were still in place in the house and dishes. And it was also a gospel song that was with the needle in her living room. And I also had an opportunity, and God afforded me an opportunity to present Ms. Burns with some of Reverend Burns' tapes on last Sunday at Mount Zion Church. So again, I just wanted to thank Camille for helping me clean them up. And if and when I get an opportunity to get in there and get any other artifacts, they will be turned over to Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. And also there was a bank statement that was left in the property where I turned over to Reverend Collins in regards to Ms. Pearling's affairs. And so any concerns or questions in regards to that, you would have to address Reverend Collins at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. May Ms. Pearling's legacy live on, and God bless her, and God bless Hammond, and God bless the African American community and the city for all her efforts.
Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business? I would like to announce that on Thursday, July 12th, there is a fundraiser at Five Guys at 8231 Calumet Avenue in Munster. This is for our council secretary who has had some real health challenges lately. 20% of the fundraiser sales and an additional $1 for every milkshake will be given back to Debbie Jimenez. So bring your friends and purchase a gift card and receive additional donations. That is Thursday, July 12th, all hours of operation. Also, I wanted to announce that Mayor McDermott and the Hammond Port Authority are proud to announce the details of the annual 4th of July celebration at Wolf Lake. The annual naturalization ceremony will begin July 4th, 5:30 p.m. at the Pavilion. If anyone has not attended this ceremony in the past, it is truly moving to see people who and witness people who have gone through a lot to become citizens of these great United States of America. The Bill Porter Orchestra will begin playing approximately 7:30, and fireworks will begin at approximately 9 p.m. This is a free event. Concert goers are encouraged to bring chairs or blankets and picnic baskets. Bags may be subject to search by security, and other restrictions may apply. The launch ramp will close at noon on the 4th of July and reopen at the completion of the event. If anyone has any questions, you can contact the Aquatic Play Center at Wolf Lake at 937-7942 for more information. Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs.
I just wanted to, since since the discussion came about some of the pioneers, and I know the history of the community, some of the other people that were very, very phenomenal in the East Hammond community, Miss Goldie Jefferson was one, Mr. Jewel Alexander was another one. They were sincere and committed to the community, and I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Miss Willa Mae Durr as well. Has done phenomenal contributions to our city. And in saying that, on MLK Day, those are some of the individuals that should be acknowledged and given awards. because they have really made contributions to the city as well as the 3rd District.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business? New and unfinished business is now closed. Next is public expression. The first speaker of the evening is Zena Anderson. If you will please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Zena Anderson. I was addressing what Councilman Higgs was speaking about the meeting at House of Pizza. I was there, and my issue is you kind of like have me confused, Ms. Janice, because you did say that you was the president. The question to you is, are you the president or is it a ghost corporation?
This is your opportunity to voice your opinion, and the council does not respond at this time. We can return to the regular order of business at the end of public expression.
Okay, so you can ask, but you can't answer. Is that
is
what you're
correct.
saying? Okay, so.
Thank you. The next speaker is Verlin B. Jackson. All righty. Next speaker is Kendall Warner.
As she just stated, my name's Kendall Warner,
And your address, please, sir.
1032 Kenwood.
Thank you.
Listen, I was one of the originators of the East Side Community Council when we first started forming that. And that was a few years ago. Now, I'm hearing, like was mentioned today, you's claiming to be the president of this organization. And it baffles me how not none one of these councilmen asked you to explain that. Councilman, he exposed the question, and you still haven't answered it. So I'm wondering why. I mean, y'all talked around everything else. Y'all brought up all type of other, to me, insignificant stuff, because I want to know, since I was one of the first people to bring up about putting an organization together like what was put together, and we all named it East Side Community Council, I'm just curious why you won't answer the question to the public. That don't make no sense. Y'all can ask questions, y'all can come up here, sit up here and make codes and ordinances and all that stuff, but somebody from the public asks you a question and you can't answer it. That don't make no sense to me. And I can't understand how the rest of you councilmen are sitting here, this the president, and she's claimed ownership of a black organization. And none of y'all is curious about it. That don't make no sense to me. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you. Next speaker is Rita Jackson.
Rita Jackson, 4923 Holman, Hammond, Indiana. I want to address the issue too, even though you can't speak right now, Ms. Finance, but you represent all 9 districts, and you need to resolve this, even if you have to meet with us afterwards, call a meeting with us, because there's a lot of hurt feelings. Maybe you didn't mean to cause hurt feelings, but it's a lot of hurt feelings in the community because people feel like you lied to them. So for your career, I would suggest you try to mend it. Meet with them later, set something up, or. And on another subject, I'm asking, there's a dip on Michigan Avenue in between Holman to Saul. on the north side, there's a dip in that highway. So, Second District, Pete Torres, and the 3 councilmen at large, Spitali, Markovich, and Vanez. Can y'all look into that? Because I think it happened during the winter months, and it's so tricky because you're driving the speed limit, and then out of nowhere, you're in a dark hole, and that's can cause a lot of damage to people's cars because you don't even know until you almost on it, and then you in that dip. So if you all can look into that, we appreciate it.
Between Calumet and Seoul, you said?
Yeah, on the north side, Michigan.
Holman and Seoul.
It's between Holman and Seoul, right. And it's a dip, Renaissance Apartment, but it's on the north side, no, south side, because this is the north side, the south side of the street.
I'm sure the city engineer is making a note of it.
Thank you. Final speaker of the evening is George Stoya. Public expression is now closed.
Madam Chair Lady,
Councilman Markovich.
make a motion to go back to new and unfinished business.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman, who was that?
Higgs.
Higgs, to return to the regular order of business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs.
I think what was last discussed, and I guess the question is again, is we're trying to get clarity as to why you came to the meeting and virtually told us that you're with the president when you're not. It was unnecessary and uncalled for, and I think the community deserves an answer in regards to that. And I personally know what it is. I mean, and I've watched it and observed it for a number of years, being in my tenure as councilman of the 3rd District, and I know what it's all about. And I'm willing to work with anybody on this council. I don't have anything against anyone, but what I won't tolerate is being mistreated by anyone. And I was elected for the people, by the people, to do a job. And so long as I serve in this capacity as councilman, I'm going to continue to fight for my community and my district. I don't care who it is. So in saying that, I mean, if you really truly want to get some influence or some help in the 3rd District, you can very well reach out to the councilman, and I don't have a problem with that. I never had a problem with it, but for some reason or another, you seem as though you can circumvent me and go around me and think everything is okay. Well, it's not. It's not. And to just blatantly lie is just ridiculous. I don't understand it. I'm puzzled by it. So maybe you can answer the question for those that are in the audience and the general public so they have clarity as to exactly what you meant by saying that you're the president when actually the paperwork said Leroy is the president.
Are you done?
I am.
Councilman, as you know, having served as president, a president must remain neutral and not engage in conversation. However, I am going to make an exception. I said at that meeting that I would notify each and every one of you the next time we have a board meeting, and I will do so.
Madam President.
Councilman?
That still doesn't answer the question because you haven't told us, you told us at the House of Pizza that you were the president, so you basically lied.
Councilman, that's the extent of the comments.
It's not the extent of it because the reality of it is you lied, and you're saying to my constituents, it's okay. It's ridiculous.
You were not recognized.
It's ridiculous.
You were not
Madam Chairman.
recognized.
Madam Chairman.
Councilman Torres.
Okay, in reference to that dip Ms. Jackson was talking about, you told me 2 weeks ago I did address it with the engineers department.
You did?
Yes, I did. It's in front of 462 Michigan on the south side, East Lane. I wasn't aware that nothing was done about it. I didn't check.
Not yet.
Okay. But I did address it as soon as he told me about it.
That's fine. I just know that it's not.
Madam Chairwoman,
Right,
I
right.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Councilman Rakos.
I'm sorry, Councilman Torres, are you done?
Yes.
I make a motion, we go back to the regular order of business.
Here we are in the regular.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Clerk Olick, what do I do here? We have to go back to the regular order of business, which would be then to motion to adjourn.
I'm sorry, I make a
I
motion.
am, okay. The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion to adjourn.
Councilman, motion by Councilman Rakos. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Torres. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Everyone have a good evening and enjoy the 4th of July holiday and be safe. Thank you.